Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I'm joined by our special guest, Andrea MacKenzie. Andrea and I are going to be talking about why you should lead with harmony for greater business success. Andrea, who is the founder of Lead with Harmony, she is a team and leadership development expert who helps business owners and executives hire strategically and develop their teams towards improved performance, lower stress, and stronger leadership. Andrea is an MBA multi-certified coach and award-nominated Colby certified consultant with 20 plus years in corporate roles and consulting. Andrea founded Lead with Harmony over 10 years ago to serve small businesses by incorporating her firsthand understanding of team success factors and disruptors into her own style of team and leadership development. An approach that combines elements of business consulting, project management, leadership coaching, experimental learning, and specialized assessments and techniques such as Colby assessments, ICF coaching principles, and IPEC Energy Leadership Frameworks. So, Andrea, I am so honored to have you here today. I'm just thrilled. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Lynn.
Well, this is going to be a very important conversation. We all need more harmony in our life. And so for those of you who are joining us for that very first time, make sure you don't miss a single episode by subscribing to Claim Your Career Crown wherever you get your podcasts. And while we're on the subject, please, if you love what we're doing and you love the show, share it, send it out to your friends, your family, your peers, and take that extra second to give us a 5-star review. We would very much appreciate it. So, Andrea, we gave a little bit of your backstory, but we really didn't talk about what inspired you to get started down this path. And I'd love to hear that.
Absolutely. So I founded Lead with Harmony in order to provide leadership development and team building and all the things that go around that, hiring, so on and so forth. And I think, even the name Lead with Harmony is a bit of a double entendre because I started off in music. That's what I studied in undergrad. I'm a creative. And I like to do things my way. I was in jazz, I was improvising, right? I want to just, kind of off the cuff, create things and do things differently. So I think that's part of where my entrepreneurial spirit comes from, right? Creating something in business. But in terms of how I got to this place of, leadership and team development, I think it started because the real true underneath, the real true origin of where it comes from is coming out of school with a music degree and being a smart person and moving from lateral job to lateral job and knowing that I was sort of the unicorn of the person who would really put energy into things but not necessarily getting the roles and the opportunities because of just whatever was on my resume, right? It's just, she's a musician, that kind of thing. And then sort of getting into my MBA and studying real straight ahead, business formats and numbers and all that kind of stuff. Those two things combined, getting into consulting and realizing, as much as I love process improvement and operations and numbers, it's really about the people. And going all the way back to this, I was the young person who didn't get the opportunities and all of these things. I think it just really helped me understand that leadership is for everyone. It's not, there are some people that have authority and therefore they are leaders or whatever those things are. Like leadership is for everyone, and helping people make their own choices and look internally, and then developing teams towards all of this, again, sort of being in harmony, right? Being in harmony internally with the things that the things that you do, the things that you love, and then making sure that other people have that same, sort of congruence in their life, right? That you're making sure that people are in the right roles and that they're excelling and that they're given the things that they need. So all of that kind of comes together in this sort of leadership and team development bucket. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
it does. Absolutely. And, going from that, I want to hear your take on our core topic is why leading with harmony. Why is it so vital in achieving greater outcomes in your business?
Yeah. So we want to achieve greater outcomes in our business, and we want to achieve greater outcomes in our lives, right? All of these things kind of go together. Whether you're the owner of a business or it's your career, what have you. Um, when you're looking internally first, you're not looking for the
Yeah.
source, the source of your problems are out here, it's everyone else, something else is to blame. When you start to really look internally and make sure that you are in harmony in those areas, like I said, I'm kind of really, again, going to reiterate this because it's like, what do you know, what do you do, and what do you love, right? Those things, making sure that what you're really working towards every day, really kind of focus on those things and that you're building those things. You can be a better leader, and you can also apply that same framework to other people in order to not just do well in business and make money and all the things we're talking about with career and so on, but to enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we all want to enjoy our lives. We want to be engaged in things and working with people who are also enjoying their lives. Right? So it's about wellness. It's about passion. It's about being somebody you want to be.
No, I truly understand that. I think the other part about the harmony that comes in is that you're really then focused in that positive and the empowerment and the ability to develop further, both personally and, of course, professionally in your career. And I think that's why the piece about harmony is so vital, because the organization, then everyone feels that they're part of, the solution. They're part of what they're providing in whatever the form of the product or service is to their end client, that they're actually creating this impact in the world, whether it's, one project at a time or one client at a time, or, however that works, whatever, their role is in doing that. And that really feeds, your soul. And that makes you just be much more aware and step into that being, and being able to live a fuller life. I mean, that would be, sort of my esoteric take on it.
Absolutely. And the unfortunate thing is there's a large group of people who are in stress every day and not enjoying what they're doing. So there needs to be a counterpoint to that. And in my experience, typically where that comes from is fear, right? So making choices and decisions based in fear. If I don't do this, then this is the consequence. Or, it's not doing things because you're afraid you're going to fail, or all those kinds of things. And that's where true leadership comes from, is understanding how to make values-based
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is really important for everyone. So, how do you do this? I mean, do you have some kind of process that you take your clients through when you're working with them so that they can, really embrace this um, concept and actually execute on it and incorporate it into their environment?
Absolutely. So, I mean, in terms of the clients that I work with, it could be, someone who is team leader, and they're looking for a larger application of this kind of work across an entire team. It could be a business owner who I'm working with one-on-one. But I'd say fundamentally the frameworks or the processes that, you kind of have to go through to get to where what I'm talking about in terms of leadership is to like I said, number one, really look internally, which is one of the reasons why I love Colby assessments so much. I know you talked about a little bit in my intro, is it's a very objective assessment. It's not about personality. And one of the reasons I sort of took to it is that knowing how you work best, knowing how you work in the least amount of stress, helps you just become more aware. Right. It doesn't mean that you're never going to do anything that's outside of your strengths, right? Like, it means now I know why I'm stressed out. Now I know how to get help. Now I know the things that I really should be focusing on and what to delegate. Now I know, right? There's so many now I know, right? From that kind of awareness, that it's incredible. Now I know why I'm constantly in conflict with this other person. So like getting becoming aware is step one, and that can take time. I mean, there's very quick things that you can learn about yourselves that you never knew never knew before, and we can do that as a team where it immediately shifts things. But it's a long process, right? To shift your own awareness, to stop, like I said, looking outside of yourself for the answers, like looking internally. And again, this idea of fear, a lot of times voices of fear are coming from all around us. They're not even ours. These people are going to judge me because, right? All of those things. So, I don't know how many of your listeners have worked with coaches before. And I think the word coach is so tough for me to use around for myself because it's so overused and it doesn't really, it starts to become diluted, has no meaning. But really the fundamentals of what, the basic of what a true coaching experience is helping somebody empower themselves, helping somebody understand enough about what's happening internally to take action and really make accelerated progress towards goals. And that's kind of the thing, whether it's teams or entrepreneurs or team leaders. Step one is awareness and starting to really get clear on, wait, am I thinking I want this goal because I think I have to have that goal, or because there's, right? Is that based in values-based thinking or fear-based thinking? Those are the kind of things that we start with. And even just a few sessions of looking at those kind of things can make massive change, right? It's like the seed for massive change. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, having that self-awareness is the first step in being able to make anything happen, whether it's personal, professional development, a change in your business, and changing your life. So I completely am on par with you where you're coming from with that. And I also think that you're discussing about fear is also critical because fear is part of our actual makeup. Because remember, way back in the day, fear was what kept us alive. Is that thing going to eat me?
Still does. Yeah.
And so, but those pieces about fear also take on other roles as we get older. You were talked about that fear of failure. And yet as a child, you didn't fear getting on that bike and giving it another go, even though you got skinned chin and a skinned elbow and skinned knee. You got back on that bike and you tried again. So it's like there's this part of awareness, and then starting to be more accepting of that, and that visualization really does move you forward in a very powerful way. So when we're looking at this, and whether we're looking at it as an individual, as an organization, or more broadly as a society, why is leading with harmony, sort of a challenge, and yet at the same time more urgent than ever?
Yeah, it's a challenge and it's a necessity. Okay. Yeah, it is. I mean, I think the resonating level of energy is fear-based motivation in a lot of corporate America. Do this or else, do this or you're not going to get your raise or your promotion, or it's about competition, right? Do better than all that kind of stuff, right? I won't be as good as, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges, right? We hear like I said, all these external voices. And I think the thing you just touched on, this fear of failure, is like reframing mistakes. That mistakes, do they really exist in the end? Like you can almost everybody listening, right, could probably look back on their life and think of something that they thought of as a mistake that eventually became one of the most important, pivotal, amazing things that ever happened to them. So is fear bad? No. Are mistakes bad? No, right? It's a matter of, again, what's good is awareness, right? What is it really coming from? Am I afraid because I'm going to die? Like I'm going to get into a car crash? Like what's happening? Sure, that might be very rational. Am I afraid of making a mistake? And how bad is it really to make a mistake? I mean, so that's the challenge, right? And then why is it a necessity? I think, I don't have statistics around this, so I'm going to speak broadly, but I think mental health, and I think we've probably all been reading about it too, mental health is a major, major issue. And I am not a therapist by any stretch of the imagination, but I am here for acceptance. I'm here for neurodiversity. I'm here for understanding our neurobiology a lot better. I'm actually just got done with studying applied neuroscience a bit, because I think the more we understand how our brains work and the more we focus on our brain health, and I'm not just even talking about mental health, because I think people forget that the brain is a biology thing. Like, we still have to eat well and all those things, right? Still come into play, when it comes to mental health even. I think that's the necessity, and starting to really come to terms with how important wellness is in the workplace. It's not just a fairy tale, right? So I think there's a lot of people that might listen to me and be like, let's dream on. That's like utopia. That's never going to happen. But I'm here to tell you that there are people out there starting businesses. A lot of them starting businesses because they want to create better cultures, and they want to, help people have better lives. And to me, that's such a nice byproduct of entrepreneurship, is not just going outward socially, but also creating something amazing internally that's like people want to show up to work, right? They want to be with each other. They want to connect, right? We need more of that in our lives. So it's much bigger than just the workplace, right?
No, absolutely. And that feeling connected actually increases your performance, because you feel that you're part of something bigger, and that you're part of creating impact. And I've seen organizations who really embrace this, and within their whole culture and their environment, is so supportive for both the team members, but the team members are really on board with what the company is doing. And you are part of, we all, once again, we're a social animal. We want to be part of something bigger. And
I mean,
in whatever role we have, it allows us to do that. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, sorry to cut you off. I just, it's interesting because sometimes people end up in companies where they're really lit up by the mission of the company or the product, right? And I think that's fantastic. And then there's other instances where they're just really lit up by being in a group of people who care about them for once, right? Like, they might not even care that they're, providing what sort. I mean, sure, I'm sure it's not against their values, like it's not something like that. But to be a part of just a team that supports them and their goals and their lifestyle, or all the things they want in their life. I mean, sometimes that is leaps and bounds more important than I'm in an industry that interests me. Because a lot of people are in industries that interest them, and they're in the most horrible pain and stress all day long because they don't really want to work where they are. They just love the industry they're in. They're trying to put another notch on their belt, another stepping stone to just get the heck out of there and go do something else. And it just, I see it all the time in people's careers where they just keep stepping stone to stepping stone. Oh, it'll be better at the next place. I should put 2 years in here. It'll be better at the next place. I guess now I should put 2 years in here, right? And it just keeps going and going and going. And until we change what's going on inside these organizations, that's really the big why.
Yeah, no, I mean, it has to be both, where, really for that business success, you have to be invested in what the company is doing in the mission, but that company also has to be invested in the team, and with the team, really being a true team where you're supporting one another. It's so funny because I'm thinking about, I've been, rewatching Ted Lasso.
Oh,
and you think about that. I mean, how the team, through the story, they come together, and they become a family, but they're still, yeah, do they want to win a game? Yeah, they want to win a game, type of thing, right? And so it's an interesting comparison with that. But let's sort of shift gears a little bit and talk about why leading with harmony is typically a blind spot. So whether you're the business owner, or you're the manager, or even the cog in the wheel, why is this concept seem to,
I absolutely can talk about that. And I'm sort of reiterating myself, but I think maybe saying it in another way. So if we are constantly in a situation where the energy is resonating in these places of victim energy, anger, competition, frustration, apathy, right? Like whatever these things are, force, fear-based motivation, all those kind of things, right? It's going to be incredibly difficult to, even if somebody on a daily basis tries to constantly move themselves up that ladder of better energy, it's extremely difficult to see it and then not get brought down by all of that, not to get brought down by the rest of everything that's going on around you. It takes strength to bypass what's going on, externally. Like I said, that people are complaining and frustrated and angry, and they're never going to do what they're supposed to do. Like all this stuff, we know those stories, and reframe it and move up, let go, forgive, have gratitude, all those things, right? And it's just incredibly hard for anybody, right? I'm guilty, right? I think we all are. We have those days where you just like everything sucks. Excuse my language, right? It's like that you do. And if those days become more often than not, it's hard to undo. We are affected by a lot of things around us. So you have to develop that mental muscle to keep, no, I'm not going there with you. I'm not going into this with you. I'm not going into jumping into
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, that's why,
Yeah.
there does have to be some balance, because when something has gone sideways or something isn't working right, you can't just put some little Pollyanna smile on it, like it's all going to be okay.
Yes,
It's like,
that's
no, I mean, what's not working? Let's figure it out so we can fix it and make it better. And so sometimes that is, so I don't want to ever have anyone think that you can't, you absolutely have to address whether it's the elephant in the room or, when something does go off track, but it's not personal. It's like, well, what happened? What was the good that we learned? Can we reuse, repurpose? And then what do we have to adjust or fix? And so when you really come at it from that perspective, that also is a way to lead, in the sense of with bringing that harmony, that it's not that somebody's bad or that they made some horrible mistake, but it's just that, okay, well, that didn't, how did that happen? What do we need to do so we prevent it from occurring again?
It's non-judgment, right? We're all going to have judgments, so you can't.
Yeah, we're all going to make mistakes.
It's correcting that destructive judgmental thing, right? Correcting it if it happens. And I think that there's let's put it this way. I am not afraid of conflict, right? Like I think a lot of times we get to harmony through conflict. Yes. So this is not about, we have to be in harmony, and that's not what we're talking about here. I mean, it really is an internal thing to be vibrating at a level where you want to be, and that you want other things to be attracted to you, right? Like that's what I'm talking about when I say harmony. There's no, put a smile on your face and everything's going to be fine. That's not at all what we're talking about. I think if you got to address something, address it. But when I say non-judgment, it's like, yeah, you are not intrinsically bad, but I'm thinking that what happened needs to be corrected.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be constructive.
It's how you do it. It's how you approach things. And that's part of leadership, right?
Yeah. So for everyone who's tuned in and they're going like, okay, well, what's like my first step, or what can I do today or tomorrow to be a better leader or to lead with harmony? What would your recommendation be?
Yeah, I would say number one, again, going back to my definition of leadership, it's not about necessarily leading others, which could be part of it, but start with yourself. Are you leading yourself? I don't care how many people report to you, right? First and foremost, right? Are you leading yourself to, again, like I said, in a place where you know and do and feel right? And is it based in some notion of what you think you should be or what the world thinks you should be, or in a fear-based kind of motivation, I must be competitive, I must be better, I must reach this goal, whatever that is? Or is it coming from a true place of this is what I desire, this is what I want, this is what I value? I mean, that's kind of the first thing, is assessing where you're trying to go, and is it really based in you? Is it authentic to you? I can tell you my top 3 values are freedom, authenticity, and fulfillment. A lot of people, if you ask them what their top values are, they might be, well, but if you're going to compromise my freedom, we're out, right? Like I know where some of those lines get drawn, right? And I think that that's step one, is like really starting to get clear on you. And dare I even say your brand, right? Especially if we're talking about career and business. And then once you start to bring the other people into your brand, right? And I truly mean this, not just as a business, but who you are, like, what do you stand for no matter what? You start to bring people in. What is that promise? Are you really delivering on that promise of what you stand for and what you value on a daily basis? Are you living it? Are you walking it? Are you breathing it? Are you allowing other people to have it? Right? Those are the questions, those real deep questions internally. Once you start getting into the next steps of, I actually have people and I need to lead people somewhere and we have goals together as a group, man, there's so much there. You got to know these people just as much as that first step we're talking about with yourself. So that's a whole other can of worms, right? But it starts with you.
All right.
Leading
Yeah.
yourself.
All right. Brilliant. So, Andrea, is there anything you wish I had asked you today?
Oh my gosh, no one's ever asked me that question before. I don't think so. I'm sort of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of gal, right? You ask me what you want to ask me, and I really appreciate the conversation and appreciate you having me on.
All right. Well, Andrea, thank you so much for sharing why you should lead with harmony for greater business success. And I know that our listeners are going to want to know more about you and how they can connect with you.
Sure. So best place to go is leadwithharmony.com. There's lots of stuff there. I have a blog that I write and all kinds of things around everything we're talking about here: leadership, hiring, team building, all that good stuff is up there. You can join the mailing list. You can grab my job ad checklist on there if you are actually in the midst of thinking about hiring someone. And LinkedIn is always a great place to connect with me as well. So you can follow me there.
All right. Well, and all of Andrea's links are going to be right down below. So she's one click away. And Andrea, thank you so much. This has been such an informative and lively discussion. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We are really honored that you chose to be here. And I would like to say, if you have ideas that you'd like to share, you can leave us a comment down below. We love hearing your thoughts. We will reply. And if you have a question or would like to suggest a topic for discussion, please email us at jointheconversation@petitetoqueen.com. And of course, to stay current on all of our insightful advice, our breakthrough advantages, and never miss an episode of Claim Your Career Crown, please sign up for our weekly Wisdoms newsletter. And we want to say thank you again for everyone who joined in. We're so glad you're here with us. And Andrea, thank you so much. This has been it's just been a refreshing, wonderful conversation today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.